we have a good variety of people, right? Attendees here. There are some names here looks familiar, right? You might be new to AI. Some of you are already on doing some sort of AI. So I will just cover the ground for everyone, right? So here we are talking about just a short half an hour. We will look at AI opportunities, right? AI is nothing new to us today, right? So just now was before we start, right? I started talking about Siri on our phone. AI is everywhere, right? Yeah, they are actually here everywhere, right? So what we want to find out is, are there any opportunities for us? And some people will tell you, right, that AI will actually take over your jobs, right? Yeah, robots, right? Robotics and all those stuff. There are also some people say that, hey, you've got to reinvent yourself so that you'll be ready for the new economy, right? So hopefully tonight we can cover all that in such a short time, right? So so the theme for today is we want to find out how AI is changing our lives, right? Some of the AI inventions, and most importantly, and you might want to ask at the end, are our jobs at risk, right? Because this is a new landscape, right? AI is not new. AI has been around for 40, 50 years. It's just that it's changing things very, very fast. We have never seen an industry change so fast, right? You've never seen industry being changed so fast by a certain technology. So fast that it is in many areas they are doing better than humans. Okay, so I'll just miniaturize the view first so you can see my full slide, and I will just move everyone to my side. Okay, so we are now in a digitally connected, real-time, anywhere in the world, right? As of last report, I think we have already overshot more than 8 billion interconnected devices. In other words, people who traditionally in other places like maybe some third world countries where they could be living in village, right? Last time they have no computer, no access to the internet, but now everyone has a handphone. So everyone is connected onto the internet. We suddenly have a balloon, explosion of people on the internet, and explosion of non-people on the internet, right? Like internet, IoT devices, self-driving cars, right? Now we have EVs, right? That has self-driving functions already on the road, right? And we have all sorts of industrial devices that can talk to themselves. So machine can also talk to machine. So this is the world we are in today. All right. So AI also powers many of the services we use today, right? Like on Netflix, they actually have recommendation system to once you watch a few shows, they will recommend to you a personalized show that they know you will like, so you will most likely buy, right? Siri, Cortana, and many others on your handphone, on your operating system, right? On this particular streaming that you are on, right? There are some sort of a data analytics that probably will look at what are the webinars you are attending, so they will recommend more to you, right? Yeah, and also facial recognition. Yeah, nowadays your phone, your CCTV are now so high tech, right? They can do real-time analysis and they can differentiate people, right? Even though a lot of people may look the same, but the tech is now good enough to differentiate people. Social media feeds, right? Voice assistant, right? If I want, I can just basically turn on voice assistant, technology, and later on my whole transcript will be out if I want to, right? So we are now in a world that is very, very different, right? Last time we talked about, countries pit against themselves to compare who is a larger country, who got more land size, right? And therefore I'm a big brother, right? And then later on, countries pit against what kind of resources they have. How much oil, got how much oil, right? Then later on, how much money you have and how much money you have, right? Yeah. And today, one of the most valuable resources is how much data you have versus how much data I have. So the rules of the games have changed. All right. So much so that in Singapore, we have a new pillar of defense, right? Yeah. Just a few years ago, we have now a new pillar of defense. It's called data, right? So we also have a lot of big data centers in Singapore, both in the east and west, mainly in Singapore, and they're all here, right? So they are so valuable. Imagine, I've surveyed a lot of people, I asked them, hey, if you lose your phone today, how will you feel? Most people say they cannot take it. It's more valuable than their lives because everything is inside, right? Yeah, and everything is on your cloud. Now you lose your password and things like that. Sometimes it's very hard to get back. Yeah, and we see a lot of interesting things happening around. So people also feel that, you know, they are, just now I was talking to the staff from Ventis, right? We were talking about it. Nowadays, people are actually very, very used to online, right? Lessons, right? Yeah, a lot of people actually do want to, they are not going back to schools, you know, physically. And the same for work, right? A lot of people, they say, hey, boss asks you to go back. You say, oh, no, I do not want to go back, right? Right? Yeah, some of you requesting to your bosses that like, you will continue to work from home, okay? Because unlike at the beginning of COVID, people are not very willing or not very comfortable using technology to work, right? And work from home. But now people are very, very comfortable, right? So our thinking has changed. The mindset of the entire workforce and in fact, everyone in the whole globe has changed, right? Today, we can't do without technology. We can't do without digitalization. And very soon, you probably can't do without some sort of AI technology around us. All right. Yeah, so 1 in 2 companies in Singapore actually has sped up AI rollout in the wake of COVID-19, one way or the other, right? And we are ranked quite high on the adoption of AI. So yeah, we are one of the first few countries that go big on AI. Okay, then this is something that you guys are here for, right? AI and data science jobs in Singapore. So far from what we receive, right, is one of the best paying jobs. If you're willing to go into this field, if you're already in, you should know the amount of opportunity out there, right? But not everybody, you know, is interested or is into this, you know. It's just like not everybody can be a programmer, right? Yeah, and therefore we have another set of questions is, if I cannot become an AI scientist or data scientist, if I'm not into tech, IT, or programming, then what do I do? Can I still be involved in this AI economy? All right. That is the general question that 99% of people that we come across ask us. Yeah, but of course, we have the 1% who are like myself, very techie kind, right? We are okay to go re-profile ourselves into this tech job. But what about the rest right now? So this is what we are going to look into today. All right. So far, so good. Are you guys following? Give me a thumbs up if you are following. Okay. So yeah, then the real numbers, right? LinkedIn in the 2020 last year reported emerging jobs for Singapore, right? That the role of data scientist is one of the top 5. So if you're really good, I'm not saying that everybody will get this kind of pay, but if you are really good, okay, and you are really into this, potentially a year pay is about 100K, all right, and probably plus minus some. Okay, so companies are also hiring data scientists or people with AI experience. Okay, so how about the country, national AI strategy, right? So we actually have a framework. This is not by me, not by Ventis, but this is a national one, okay? Therefore, you got to lie it there, right? So we have strategy called a national AI strategy. Probably you have already read this in newspaper, all right? Maybe through television or some sort of surveys, right? So it basically gives the set up the framework for us to use AI technologies to transform the economy and potentially go beyond just adopting a technology, but to make, I would think that personally, make our life easier, right? But for businesses wise, right? If you're running a business, then it could be potentially a new kind of business model. In other words, different way, for example, to have a revenue stream. Maybe the old way of doing business doesn't, the revenue stream is declining, right? Then AI comes and you are able to reinvent the business using a different business model. All right, and then get reap productivity and financial gain. All right, that's for organization. Okay, And we have a lot of agencies, we have a lot of private companies, government companies, association involved in, yeah, basically everyone, right? And as part of this, they have identified 5 different areas. I will call these the drivers for building this ecosystem, right? First is the triple helix partnership between the research community, in other words, academics, institutions, universities, people from industry, companies from industry like myself, right? And also the collaboration from government agencies, right? And then to develop the AI talent, right? And educate, as part of this series, this is one of them, right? To educate the public, right, about AI and AI talent and AI opportunities. And then I will call this the upgrade, so-called upgrade of data architecture, okay, how we actually manage and serve data. Then progressive and trusted environment. In other words, how do we move to a state whereby we use a lot of AI and people can have trust in AI? And in fact, if you go even further, how can AI trust humans, right? That is the part of this category, right? Then international collaboration. Of course, Singapore as an international hub, then of course, then we want to be part of this, right? How we can internationalize collaboration, right? Carry the Singapore brand, okay? Yeah. So these are some of the, I would say, the details, right? For example, between the major parties, right? The research community, industry, government, right? Background, right? Yeah, behind the scene, a lot of people, a lot of organizations are still doing a lot of R&D across, right? Research ecosystem. And people like us, we like to drive partnerships between the research community and industry, all right, as well as education, right? And then companies want to accelerate AI adoption. And of course, then it'll be good because AI is an innovation by itself, and this innovation self-innovate in many ways. So it becomes a good opportunity, at least in our place, a test bed for further innovation. All right. Then AI talents, yeah. So potentially you might want to think of yourself as a potential AI talent, right? So there are a few ways to do this. One is you study yourself, DIY, right? Yeah. Go library, borrow a lot of books, you know, try some programming, try some software, try some hardware, read a lot, and try to do something, create yourself, right? Create something out. Or you can go through a formal education. There are a lot of programs out there, all right? Adventist has a few programs. Or you can actually go on the job and learn along the way, right? All these are nothing new, right? With or without AI, whenever we need to learn something new, these are our options, right? And of course, you can also learn by collaboration, right? Take a role in this new AI economy, and then grow your career over there. Then the next pillar is data architecture, right? In this data architecture, we are talking about enabling quick and secure access to high quality cross sectorial data sets. In other words, data that can be shared across maybe agencies, between industries and governments, right? Governments with governments, private companies, so that we can have better prediction. For example, data forecast, right? Traditionally, a lot of this data may or may not be shared, that the analytics may not be shared so well. But now, because of the improvement in technology, right? Maybe something, you know, maybe a tsunami that happens in another faraway country might have some effect over here, right? So in the past, maybe the data when it comes back, or the prediction that we have, may not be so timely and may not be accurate. So today we can be more and more accurate, right? Probably the same with how we trace the the data for the COVID infection and all those things, right? Yeah. So in other words, data architecture has changed, right? But then again, I would say that we need to be careful because data need to be secure first in the first place, right? Yeah, so these are a few disciplines all being somehow meshed together, overlapping, right? And it creates further innovation, all right? Yeah, and then this leads to a trusted environment, okay, a progressive and trusted environment. So in this framework, right, we do not want, suddenly a lot of AI robots walking around replacing all our jobs, right? Yeah, that will be chaotic, strange, right? So we may not be ready. So progressive is good, right? So slowly, as we use these potential AI technologies, right, it basically benefit humans, all right, and benefits the outcome that is probably win-win, all right, and not used as a killer drones. Okay, international collaboration, yeah, which is something I'm very interested in, right? This is not a single technology. It is many technologies that that interface with one another, that overlaps with one another, and potentially there are unlimited technologies that shape the international AI discourse, and they become enablers for other AI technologies, right? So this is interesting because in Singapore, at least, we like to have such innovation, right? Yeah, so this might potentially contribute to global standards for AI-related policies and guidelines, right? Collaborate on multinational AI projects. Okay, so putting all this together, all right, once you understand the overarching framework we are all in, right, then you can look at the opportunities for us, all right? How can we change ourselves? How can we adopt our career, right, into this new economy? How can we use this technology for our day-to-day, right? May not be sometimes may not be work, it may be lifestyle, right? How do we nowadays we still have COVID, right? So a lot of us are at home, right? How do we make use of this technology to find out things that potentially could be very hard without this technology? Okay, so so all in all, if you put all this together, right, we may enjoy sustain. The keyword here is sustain, right? So not just benefit, but benefits that keep on coming back, right? More and more benefits, and we can build on this over a long period of time and strengthen the ecosystem enablers that drive AI innovation, right, and adoption across the economy. So hopefully then this eventually will contribute probably to a certain percentage of GDP, right? Right now, I don't have such data yet. Okay, so potential use case, right? What are the potential use case? Transport and logistics already using AI quite a lot, right? So EVs are already here. If you have seen some Tesla moving around, right? We have self-driving cars, right? NTU has one, right? And they have already been operating for a few years. Transport and logistics is already there, right? So there are more innovations there. Smart cities and estate. If you consider solar panels, right? How we harness energy, how we calculate the energy, how we predict the weather, all right? Estates, etc., right? How can we further use green energy, right? Yeah. So by now you realize that actually AI is not a standalone discipline. Right? It is right in the middle of many things, right? Healthcare, right? Healthcare, how can we, for example, potentially predict cancer, right? AI, when it is fed with a lot of data, it can actually recommend, right, doctors a particular course of treatment, right? Or it can predict certain tumor early by looking a lot of data, right? A lot of X-ray scan, for instance, right? And faster than what doctors can actually find out sometimes, right? Education, yes, education, we are also revamping, right? I'm in the education sector. We are now, a lot of institutes have already rolled out certificate that cannot be doctored, right? And they might have blockchain in nature, right? Yeah. So this is another topic, but blockchain and AI is also possible, right? Predicting maybe a career for you, right? Yeah, and giving you the right education, right recommendation. Yeah, and then if you, I ever trained one head of department, I cannot tell you who, right? They are really using this in the education sectors, and they are sort of a, I wouldn't call it personalized yet, but customized course of study for primary schools, right? Yeah, so there's eventually we might not need any scoring for primary school result, right? Because everyone is different, right? So you grow differently. Yeah, all these are data being collected, pumped into the AI system, and the AI system do some recommendation based on these predictions, right? Safety and security, same thing, right? Safety, AI with cybersecurity is one evolving area, right? AI with physical security, AI police, right? Now we already have, right? Yeah, asking you to wear your mask, right? In some shopping mall, right? Yeah. So we have all these things, okay? And it is basically, I will call this version 1. Yeah. So moving ahead, there's still a lot of room for growth. So working as a nation, there are 4 ways typically you can be involved in the Singapore AI strategy. All right. You might already be working in some national AI projects. Yeah, I see some program managers here, right? So you might be there. Okay. And you might want to find out on the ground, right? How does people feel about using AI technologies? Then the second way is to how you can, if you're a business owner, right, how you can transform your business with AI. All right. How can you, for example, predict sales? All right. Predict sales from your past customers' buying habits. Yeah. Okay. So big techs are already doing this for decades, right? Your Amazon, Ali, Taobao, right? All these, they are already doing this. JD, you know, they are all, they're already predicting and they're recommending products to you. So because they are trying to improve their system to predict sales, right? The same for marketing, etc., etc. Then here we are also very concerned about, oh, how can we participate, right? In order to participate, then we need to know what are the relevant possible new jobs that might be available in the market, and that requires us to have some sort of an interface with AI, right? You may not be making AI, but maybe working with AI, right? And then learn about AI. That's why you are here today. Okay, so in a more graphical way, it's the same thing, right? There's more details, right? It talks about the same thing. Okay. So far, so good. Are you guys following? Right. So so I've given you the big picture. The next thing is, now you have the big picture, then what about ourselves, right? Yeah. How about you, right? So this is a mega trend, right? Not just Singapore. It is a journey that humankind is making, all right? Many years ago, right, when I was a kid, people I was looking at this television movie, it's called The Terminator. I'm sure most of you have watched that, right? So they have this thing called the Skynet, you know, and then got Terminator that comes, you know, travel through time. Then I was telling my parents that, hey, you know, I think Skynet and Terminator, at least Skynet will be here, okay, in our lifetime. And then I tell a lot of people, nobody believe. But today, if you really look around, Skynet is here, okay, in another form, right? Yeah. So we are now in the future, in other words, right? And then this advancement will not stop. In other words, we need to keep abreast, right, with the knowledge application. We need to be aware, at least, right? How can we work in the space whereby AI, whether visible or not visible, invisible, right, is working alongside us? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have new ideas about AI, let me know, right? So far, any question? Yeah. Let me see my time. Oh, I'm so good with my time. Okay, so it's like, now it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, so we have a bit of time for Q&A. Let me see the chat box. Okay, so if you have any question, you can put inside the chat box. Or just now somebody private message. How about what are the jobs? What are the jobs that that we think that we think that could be replaced by AI? I prepared the answer for you. Okay. These are what we think, right? These are the jobs that we think AI can easily replace now and the future, right? Now AI already replaced a lot of warehousing. Yeah, that's why we use a warehouse picture, right? This is a picture of, if I believe, it's either JD or Alibaba, right? Or maybe Amazon, right? They are using robots for inventory management, right? So the things that you order online, right? Yeah, 11/11, right? Today, tomorrow, or tomorrow 11/11, right? A lot of people will be buying things, right? Yeah. So humanly, not possible to ship so many things out, right? And manage this in the logistic using manpower, right? Especially now with COVID-19. So robots are working very hard, right? Robots are not affected by COVID-19, although they can carry it, right? Yeah. So they are moving through the shelves up and down, passing from one robots to the other, and the robots can talk to each other, right? All these are managed by AI. Some are centralized, some are basically decentralized, all right? Customer service executives, right? Customer service executive, if you are in that role, right, you need to think twice, okay? A lot of these are automated. Today you call maybe some banks, yeah, the first few layers are not human. You're talking with AI, right? Talking to AI. To go through some sample first, sample question. Or if you are online, right, you talk to some of the AI chat box as well, okay? Then bookkeeping and data entry. Bookkeeping and data entry is part of the accounting job, right? Some accounting job. They are very mundane and very systematic, and they can be easily replaced, quite repetitive. Receptionist, right? Receptionist, you know, if you look at some of the metaverse world, right? Some of the AI, yeah, robots or, you know, hologram, right? They are performing better than receptionists. Oh, yeah. Okay. Proofreading, yeah. If you realize you have been using the search engine, like, for example, Google and all these, right? You compare the proofreading 10 years and today, they are so much better, right? Translation, proofreading, plagiarism check, right? Rephrasing, all done automatically. Yeah, because AI is behind to do all these things. And we're not just talking about English language, is across all languages, right? Yeah, and the more inputs we supply them, the better they get. Yeah, manufacturing and pharmaceutical work, all right? Yeah, testings, right? Yeah, sampling, building parts, all right? Building computers, building cars, right? Retail services, some I would say some. Yeah, you have seen some robots walking around in retail shop. Not that user friendly yet, but they are doing some fundamental jobs. Okay. Courier services, delivering goods. Here we still can't, but in some countries they are already using drones, AI drones to deliver parcels, right? Maybe soon. Okay. At the moment, I don't see them flying around yet. Okay. Doctors, telemedicine doctors, tele doctors to troubleshoot some fundamental illnesses. Yeah. Soldiers, killer drones. Yeah. Right. In the military, these are real stuff that they are very controversial, right? Yeah. Whether they, whether it's ethical or not, to use AI soldiers to, infiltrate another country, right? Yeah. Debatable, not at our level to, the comment, right? Yeah. Taxi and bus drivers, right? Self-automated taxi. Already, the technology is already here. It's all about approving it, right? Regulations, right? Yeah. Okay. Market research analyst, right? Market research automated. Today, some of these services, after this class, you can go online immediately buy them, right? Yeah. Security guards, yeah. Security guards. Okay. Because if you look at all these things, right, anyone can tell me what's common across all these jobs. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, correct, Selena. Yeah, doctors are, I doubt so lah. Oh. But telemedicine, yeah. Some standard, so like, you know, off the counter pharmacies maybe. All right. Yeah. So anyone can tell me if you want to unmute yourself, by all means, or if you want to put in a chat box, what's common across all these jobs? That's the most critical question we want to ask tonight. Yeah, if you can answer it, I'll review the last slide. Yes, Frank says data, yes. But on the front, data is what is working behind, right? What's common in these jobs? What's common traditionally across all these jobs? Mundane and repetitive. Very good. Okay, I will ask Avantis to send you some sort of a souvenir. Okay. Yeah. Correct answer. Mundane and repetitive. But here we have to be careful because when we talk about mundane and repetitive, how about cleaners? How about, you know, you go to food court, right? Now must return your own tray. But previously you got cleaners, cleaning the table, right? Collecting your plates, all these, right? Robots are not still not doing all this very well. Yeah. It is mundane and repetitive, right? But there are certain mundane and repetitive jobs that robots and AI are still not doing very well, right? So this means what? This means that on the other spectrum, those that require critical thinking, like human wisdom, okay, decision making, human wisdom, right? Strategic think, international policies and all those things, right? Emotional empathy. AI is still not yet there, right? Yeah. Would you want to, you know, if tomorrow, if you have a child, the school call you, hey, all the childcare teachers, you know, not free, they will send a robot to take care of your child and the childcare teacher. Do you want or not? Right? So empathy maybe not there. But then this becomes very tricky, because those that are on one spectrum, higher level up, right, that requires human empathy, strategic thinking, AI is not doing very well. But those at the other spectrum, right, like cleaning jobs, cleaners job, right, construction job, etc., right, AI also not there yet. You get what I mean? So it's only those that are in between. Right, that's what I think, like this, right? Those that are in between has a fair chance of being automated and replaced by AI. Yeah, we still need human emotion, correct, yeah, especially now a lot, you know, we're still working from home, right? We need a lot of emotional support. Yeah, so if you are in a job where it's, you know, not to these two extreme spectrum, that means you're not in the management strategic decision, not in the empathy role, and you're also not in the you're in mundane repetitive, but the repetitive every time is different, right? Yeah, you just like, you know, food court auntie trying to clean your plates, right? Every time the setting is different, right? Yeah, so it's difficult. Okay, so these two may not be replaced so fast, but those that are in the between, traditional mundane repetitive white collar jobs they are risks. Okay, yeah. So then how if you are in those jobs, Last one. Oh, somebody asked how. Okay. Very good. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to move this away so we'll not block you. Okay, jobs that AI can't replace for now, right? Of course, you can be an AI scientist, that is for sure, right? Yeah, I mentioned this. You can go into some programming job, not all programming, because programmers sometimes they got replaced if you are, you know, the lower step programmers as well. But you can be an AI scientist, AI developer, AI whatever, right? Yeah, all those new roles in AI. But if you do not want to change, right, then there are still some traditional jobs that potentially AI can't replace for now, like human resource manager. Yeah, correct. You mentioned about emotion, right? The human factor. Writers. Yeah, AI is trying to write some storybooks. Okay, there are some use cases. Lawyers. Lawyers also depend on what kind of lawyers, right? Like criminal lawyers, those that really need high intelligence debate one, maybe not so easily replaced. But if paperwork lawyers, right? Those that, you know, paperwork kind, maybe can be replaced. Chief executive, CEO, scientists, clergymen, psychiatrists, event planners, graphic designer, those basically requires creativity, right? Yeah, in fact, maybe business will be better. Okay, public relations manager, software developers, project managers, right? So on and so forth. The list is not exhaustive. These are just some of the roles that people has mentioned, all right? And we generally think that they will at least be here to stay. But then again, they might use certain AI services from time to time, right? All right. And yeah, I'm so good with time this round. Normally I overshoot a lot, right? Yeah, the timing. That is the last slide I have. Yeah, for you to get your certificate. Yeah, because you follow through all the way to the end. So Adventist will award you a certificate, right? Yeah, if I'm right, there's a certificate of attendance.